In this video, watch trader Garrett share how he uses a self-built trading tool called the trade log to see the adjustments he needs to make. Hi, I'm Mike Bellafiore, co-founder of S&B Capital, and we're a proprietary trading firm located in Midtown Manhattan. And I'm also the author of the trading classic, One Good Trade, and the playbook. In this video, learn how Garrett, a prop trader at S&B Capital, finds the areas in his trading and the market on which to focus. Garrett is one of the most diligent traders at our firm and offers a gift to the trading community by sharing how he uses the trade log. Let's get to work on sharing this important trading lesson. It's just terrific, so you can grow your trading account.
My name is Garrett. I'm a trader with S&B Capital, and today I'm going to be talking about the trade log. The trade log is a process tool that I came up with that has really been helping me hone in on the areas of my trading and the areas of the market that I should be paying attention to. It's a dynamic, comprehensive visual tool that in that I mean that it takes all the things that are important to my trading and puts them in one place and then displays them, organizes them, color codes them so that I can see at a glance what I need to be paying attention to in my own trading and what I need to be paying attention to in the market. More specifically, what does the trade log do for me? It helps me visualize how I'm trading relative to the market despite profits or losses, right? So some days we make money, but we make some mistakes, and it's always good to understand what part of your process is running smoothly and what part isn't. Right, and some days we take losses, but we actually traded really well and we did everything well according to our process. So it allows me to separate the profits and losses from the actual good trading and the bad trading. It keeps me checking in with my process, so I do it every day, and just the act of doing it lets me go over every single trade, checking in with all the different aspects of my trading that matter to me. And it exposes key learning experiences that need attention. Right, so things will really stand out to me on this sheet, and I'll show it to you in a second. Certain things will really glare at me, and those are the things that I'll be focusing in on my reviews. Those are the things that I'll be focusing on the next day to make sure that I get something right the next day if I didn't get it right the previous day. And I think most importantly, it reveals to me necessary adjustments that I need to make. And this might have to do with my own trading, and this might have to do with the market. You know, it might point out certain things about the market, like certain setups are not working right now, right? So we need to adjust, because trading is all about adjusting. I just want to talk about process for a second, because I've mentioned it a few times, and I'm sure a lot of people understand what that is, but some people might not. And I think it's really important, just because that's what we're talking about. This is a process. This is a process tool. So in the dictionary, process is a series of actions or steps taken in order to achieve a particular end. So when you think about it, that's really simple, but it's super important because it's all the little things that we do to help us achieve our goals. So, in this case, make a lot of money, be consistently profitable, and maybe it means making it onto a trading desk or being a part of a team. So why process? Like, why is that important to us? So, first of all, we're running a business, right? So, any business is going to want to pay attention to the inner workings of their business, the rules, the things that govern their decision making, so that not only does it grow, but it also endures hard times, right? Because environments change, and you need something to hang on to, right? So another thing is we're always searching for new ways to work on our game, right? Because, on the New York City desk, we're definitely looking for the next hot stock and the next great play, no doubt, but that's only part of it. We're always looking for ways to get better, right? And we're studying ourselves as well, trying to understand the things that make us consistent, trying to understand the ways of trading, the things that we do best so that we can get better. And then, as I said before, trading's all about adjustments. The market environment changes, you need to adjust. Your personal life changes, you need to adjust. And, you start making some mistakes, and you need to catch that quickly before it becomes a problem. Right, so for us as traders, process is the system from which our trading runs. It's the practices and rules that allow us to objectively assess and make decisions, and it's the routines and habits that facilitate growth. So the trade log is my daily review process.
If you want to learn 3 more real-world setups that our traders use, including the simple setup that we teach all of our new traders, and the setup that turned one of our traders into a 7-figure big money earner, check out the free webinar that we're currently running. Just go ahead and click the link that should be appearing now at the top right-hand corner of your screen. That will open up the free registration page in a new window, so don't worry, you won't lose this video. You can also visit tradingworkshop.com to register for this free intensive workshop. You're going to learn more in a couple of hours from this trading workshop than from years of online education.
So this is it. This is the trade log. At first glance, it may seem like a lot. It may be intimidating. We're not going to get stuck in the weeds here. I'm not going to go into every little detail about this because this is very, very specific to me, to my style of trading, to my system. So if you were to have a trade log, it might look very different than this. But the important thing to take away from this video, I think, is just the idea of it, what I'm trying to accomplish with it, and just the idea that keeping track of these things daily is important, right? And you might use something like TraderView to track and tag your trades, and I also do that. And this works in conjunction with that because a lot of the stuff in here I'm also tagging on TraderView. But this allows me to personally review and go over everything at the end of every day. At first glance, you might notice that there's just 4 sections, right? So day, execution, risk, opportunity, right? And it's just broken into these big sections, right? So without getting lost in the weeds, you can see that right here, I'm just taking the information from each day, whether it was a win or loss, the P&L, and then everything in this section has to do with my execution, right? And everything in this section has to do with my risk. Everything in this section has to do with the opportunity of the day, or the opportunity level of the day, whether I was in the right opportunity, stuff like that. And then I'm color coding these sections based on specific criteria that speaks to how well I did, right? So if it's a certain color, I just know I have to go in and look deeper, I have to review deeper. And I can just see at a glance when I look back at the end of the month, end of a week, how I'm doing and how things are panning out. Why did I come up with this? So first, I was not getting enough out of just looking at my wins and losses. And I mentioned this, touched on this earlier, but we can have a really great day. Go home, make money, feels like you did everything right, and go sit on the couch. But a lot of times, and this month is actually a perfect example for me, is that the days where I need to look deeper and make the most adjustments and review closer are a few of my biggest winning days of this month. Those were the days where I made the most mistakes in my process. The 2 losing days so far this month, I actually traded great, I did everything well, right? And that's possible, right? It could be a low opportunity day. You could risk appropriately, control your risk on a few setups that don't work, and then stay patient and minimal. And if at the end of the day you look back and you realize that you controlled yourself on a low opportunity day, that's a win. I wanted more dimension to my review process. So I wanted to visualize it. Like, I wanted to make it so that I could just easily see what I need to be looking deeper into. I started asking myself, what matters to my trading, right? Because like, we all have playbooks and rules and stuff like that, but like, when I'm trading really well, when I'm trading consistently, what are the things I'm doing best? What are the aspects of my trading that really come out when I'm really consistent and feeling it, right? So I wanted to know, how am I trading relative to the opportunity set? How am I trading relative to the quality of the setup, the level of maturity of the pattern, and then whether the idea worked or failed? And the reason these things are important to me is because the keys to my success, I found, the things that I'm doing well when I'm trading consistently, and I call these the 3 pillars of consistency, because if one of them falls off, then my trading falls off, are 1, opportunity. So am I in the right opportunity? Is it a high opportunity day? Is it a low opportunity day? Number 2, pattern and timing. Am I waiting for the pattern and the timing to align? Number 3, flexibility. Am I being flexible in the trade once I'm in? So, if I buy a breakout on high volume and I expect the volume to increase and sustain, and the volume starts dropping off, maybe the market changes, right? Like, I need to adjust my expectations of the trade. That might be time to lighten up, maybe get flat, maybe raise a stop. And conversely, if volume starts coming in and the tape starts acting really well and the market starts confirming, then I need to be flexible enough to consider, maybe this is an overnight trade. Okay, so, and then this year I added risk, because this is the biggest thing for me this year that I need to be focusing on. My goal this year is to make outsized returns in my best trades, so I added risk. So I wanted a way to track this, okay? So just like we kind of circled before, each one of these sections covers one of these things, 1 or 2 of these things, right? So we have the execution side of it, where I'm asking myself, did I execute well? Did I make money on my ideas that worked? Or did I lose money on an idea that worked? And then the risk section, did I risk enough, especially in my best setups? And then the opportunity section, was I in the best opportunity for me? What I'm going to do is just go through each of these sections and just provide a few examples so that you can see kind of what I'm doing. So this is the day column. Pretty self-explanatory, but you can see the color-coded key there, where I'm basically taking, on the left, the P&L for the day, and then breaking it down intraday and overnight. And then on the right, I'm listing the tickers that I traded, right? And then that starts bleeding into the other sections. But the way I'm color coding is just pretty simple. It's just whether I won, scratched, or lost. And that way I can just kind of see as a whole how these things are adding up for me. Okay, so next we're just going to go over the execution section, right? So it's the next one to the right. A little bit more color coding. But really all that I'm asking myself is, how did I do on my ideas that worked? And how did I do on my ideas that failed? That's what's important in the end, right? There's a bunch of different columns that pertain to my specific system, my specific style of trading. But generally, if I won on an idea that worked, I'm going to color it green, right? And if I lose on an idea that worked, I'm going to color it red. If I lose on an idea that failed, it's going to be white, because essentially that's what's supposed to happen, right? So I'm not going to beat myself up for losing on an idea that failed, right? If I go through a whole month and I only have ideas that failed, that's a different problem, right? Then I need to be looking at the play, looking at the market. It's probably something to do with the market environment. I'm probably not in the right opportunities for me. So this first example, on this day right here, I've got 3 ideas that failed and I've got 1 idea that worked. Okay, and I still made money. It was a small win day, but the gray here is signifying that I scratched on 2 ideas that failed. All right, and I talked earlier about how one of the main things that I'm doing when I'm trading well is being flexible in the trade. Okay, so you can see how I scratch, the idea failed, and then this is how I managed it, right? So I took some profit and then I adjusted the stop. Right, on the next one, same thing. I scratched on an idea that failed. Once it started working in my favor, I adjusted the stop. And why am I doing these things? It's because the market's not confirming. And so I'm allowing myself to control my risk and leave myself open for a winner that can actually affect my day. Okay, so same thing this next day. And these are 3 days that I chose, so these are not consecutive days, but I had a couple wins on ideas that failed, right? And so what am I doing? I'm scalping some profits, exiting early, scalping profits, adjusting the stop. So when I look at something like this, I can tell myself that I'm being flexible, right? And that's just letting me know how I'm trading, right? And it doesn't always look like this, right? And if it doesn't, that's when I need to pay attention, okay? So if we go to the next slide, on this day, this yellow one stands out, this AMC trade, right? Because if you go up here, this means that I scratched on an idea that worked, right? That's not ideal. Okay, and even worse would be if I lost on an idea that worked. If that's happening, like I need to look deeper into my execution and understand what I'm doing, right? Like am I not leaving my stops wide enough? Am I not being patient enough? Am I not letting the pattern and the timing develop? Okay, so in this case I scratched on an idea that worked. I took a loss and then I scalped, made it back. But ultimately, this thing followed through, right? So I need to look deeper into why I didn't make money, okay? And in this case, GME was part of the same idea, and I did win. But the review for this day was that when I got back into this idea, I only got back in to GME, and AMC followed through much better, right? So that was a little bit of a side note for me. A little bit of a learning experience to say, you never know which one's going to trade better. And, even if you spread the risk between the two, I'm going to want to, next time consider getting back into both there. And so next, I'm just going to show you guys this last column, which is play. So this is just where I'm talking about what play was it? Was it a momentum breakout, market bounce? Right, and I'm gonna run down the line and just demonstrate how that really helps me out. You can see we have the date, the day over here, and the ticker, and then just the play. Right, I've just eliminated everything else. And one of the things that I can immediately see right now, and this is January, right, and we've had a pretty volatile market, especially the last few weeks. So in the beginning of the month, you can see that we have a breakout that didn't work, a breakout that didn't work. Right, a breakout that didn't work, and then a breakdown that worked, and then a breakdown that worked. Right, and you can kind of see a pattern where, what are the plays this month that are working for me? Breakdown, it's a market play, breakdown. This was the one breakout that worked. Breakdown, 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 and a backside short. Right, so they're mostly short plays. And so in the beginning of the month, when I'm seeing a lot of breakouts not work, after 2 or 3 days, I'm just looking back and I'm noticing this pattern. And I'm saying to myself, a lot of times this is what it looks like when, markets start to turn, like breakouts stop working. So this is just a very easy way for me to track that and just look like if my breakouts are not following through, then, obviously, that might not be anything to do with my actual trading. That just might have to do with the market environment, and I'm going to need to adjust to that. Now we're going to talk about risk. Okay, and you can see with the color coding that I'm really only worried about if I'm risking enough on my ideas that worked, right? Because if it doesn't work, there's probably a point in the trade where the setup gets downgraded, maybe the trade category, style of trade gets downgraded, right? Like if I'm getting into something, maybe it only remains scalps because the market's not confirming, right? So on these ideas that really followed through, like I'm gonna wanna make sure that I'm getting up to full risk. Okay, and this is a big thing for me this year. So I'm really paying close attention to this. And I've already had some missteps this month and especially on a couple of my better days, right? So, this first day here, you can see that the trade that really worked was this lucid, okay? I'm looking at, was it an A setup? What kind of entry was it? These were all the things that made it an A setup. I risked 1R, and that's what I'm supposed to do. And I have an expression section here that's just making sure that on my best setups, like I want to be adding options to the trade, especially A+, A++ setups. It's just a way for me to put on more risk. So this is just a way for me to check on that. But if we go to the next one, this is forward. This is actually that forward breakout that we just saw, okay? And this was an A setup. I should have risked 1R, and I didn't, right? So that's a big problem, right? Like I made money on this day, but this was actually, one of the bigger days to review for myself, okay? Because I needed to ask myself, why didn't I get up to full risk, right? And what was the challenge? Well, there was a challenge. As forward was breaking out, high R-vol, the price action was great. It was stronger than the market, but the market was completely selling off, right? And to me, that made the trade a lot harder because the last time that I had to add to forward, the market was just tanking, right? So I didn't. I avoided adding the last chance I had to add, right? So I don't think that's a terrible defensive move, but the bottom line is on my very first add, I wasn't big enough. Like that's the solution, right? Like at the better prices on the very first add, I should have been bigger, right? And that's something I wrote in my notes, and that's something that I need to carry forward, the next time we see a setup like this. And because of the market environment, I didn't hold it overnight because like we just went over, I was seeing that breakouts were generally failing. So, I saw this one intraday, and it set up and it looked great, but because of that environment check, I'm not going to hold this thing overnight. Okay, and then third day here, this was an IWM swing short, momentum breakdown trade. And this was something taken in a joint account. And this was a really great trade, and this is something that I'm planning on playbooking. Like I'm gonna need to playbook this because again, like we didn't risk enough in this trade. It was a little tricky because there was not like a huge inflection point to get size. So that's when we need to start thinking about puts, thinking about using the options market, thinking about, where can we add. And so this is definitely a trade to go back and review, right? Because it's not a trade that we were used to making. The market environment changed and it set up, and it's basically the inverse of a lot of long trades that we take. But this red color in both of these cases signifies to me that I need to review this, and at the end of the month I'll come back to these and review them again, right? Because next month, this stuff can't happen again. So the last section is opportunity, the opportunity level of the day, and then the main question I'm asking myself was, what was the best opportunity for me, and was I involved? And that's how I'm color coding it. So in this case, this SBEV into the close was the best opportunity for me. And this was something that I absolutely missed. Okay, and this was a profitable day, a day where, a couple tickers acted really well. I traded them well, and I could have easily just gone home thinking that everything was perfect, right? But this review sheet forced me to ask myself, what was the best play for me today? And it was this SBEV. Our entire team missed this. This kind of came out of nowhere, like it was a volume surge and a VWAP reclaim into the close. So you either had to be watching it, or you had to have an alert, or you had to have some filter or a team call it out. So the way I addressed this was I just asked my team, I said, I know a lot of us probably would have crushed this. This is a pretty good opportunity. Maybe it's worth thinking about how we could have caught it. One of the guys on my team started creating a filter for this, and collaborating with me on the variables and how we can catch it next time, right? So we got something out of that, because I think this filter might become useful, and maybe the next time we catch this sort of a thing, and maybe the whole team makes a whole bunch of money, right? So these are the little things that go into the review process that, for me, like, even on a winning day, it's just so easy to go home thinking I did everything right. But if I can just take a little bit of extra effort to address those things that need tweaking, like finding the setup, then it's going to pay off in the future, and and we'll grow. So I think a good practice, after watching this video, if you like it, if you like this idea, is just to think about, what does your trade log look like? What would your version be? Your process might be completely different. Your trading system, your trading style, you might be asking yourself different questions. The things that really helped me develop this are, these are the questions, right? What are the aspects of your trading that make you consistent? What's the aspect of your trading that you need or want to work on the most? Are there aspects of your trading that are untrackable via TraderView? Like something such as whether my idea worked or not, right? Did I make money on my ideas that are working versus making money on ideas that are not working? And then, are there aspects of your trading that go unnoticed during a profitable day, right? And this is a big thing, but it's like finding that setup that we missed, or not risking enough on my best play, or maybe even losing or scratching on an idea that followed through. So I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you got something out of it. And I think anyone could probably take some aspect of this and just cater it and make it your own.
Hey, go ahead and click our subscribe button so you don't miss any of the videos that we're producing for you in the trading community. And please take the time to add your feedback in the comments section for what videos you'd like for us to produce next, and what you found helpful from this video. From all of us at S&B, train and trade well.